What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit and I'm here today with Ziclag. Gonna run through a lesson on ISIS for Age of Mythology Extended Edition. Gonna quickly run through a recorded game that he played and then jump into an online 1v1 game where I'm basically just gonna yell at him. Now, there were some audio problems, so you might notice some stuff. Hopefully not, fingers crossed, but I'm just going to put that out there as a warning so I don't get like spam, what the hell is going on, and all that other good stuff. So hopefully it's enjoyable. And yeah, if you don't know who this guy is, I will have a link to his YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel, it's really, really good, and you should go over and subscribe to him, check him out. He's a cool dude. Does some Minecraft stuff, some DayZ stuff, and he's getting into AOM, so I'm all for that. So do go support him. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it. 3, 2, 1, play. Alright, so you got your ISIS, Maps Oasis. And it looks like you can't see your hunt in the line of sight. So you might know it, you might not know it. The most efficient food source in the game is anything which can be hunted from. So zebra, deer, giraffe, or elk.
Yeah, I've noticed that in some of your videos from some of the more pro players is that they actually leave those bushes until later on, I believe.
Yeah. So what I like to do in this situation when I don't know where my hunt is, especially when, well, I know that the map's Oasis, so I know there's going to be some zebra somewhere. I like to use my pharaoh at the very start of the game to scout out one way, and my priest to scout out the other way. So that's that. But you went straight for the berry bushes, and you grabbed husbandry first, which is a bit different.
Yeah, I would just like to point out, I'm not making excuses, but this is actually the first ranked game that I went into using the ISIS tactic. I simply watched your ISIS versus ISIS of the two pro players on your site, and then just went straight into it. I didn't even practice it. I just went, you know what, let's just see what happens.
I'm just gonna do it, okay? Alright, so you've actually found some giraffe. At this point, instead of getting husbandry, I would have grabbed hunting dogs, and I would have moved my villages over to the giraffe. I would have probably had.
Yeah, I've been doing that actually. After this game, I've got some other recorded games where I don't buy that upgrade first. I do go for hunting dogs.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's what you would do normally if there's no hunt at all on a map, but yeah, I wouldn't get it straight away because there's 90% of the time you're gonna have hunt somewhere.
Yeah.
Alright. I think the next thing to point out is you've got like 8 villages on food already, which is quite a lot considering you're aiming to get like a temple, a monument, and 400 food in the archaic age. But you can also get 108 wood to get your gold upgrade earlier, so that's something you can afford to do as well as getting everything else.
Okay.
So really solid sort of template for the archaic age before you start like venturing off onto different things is getting 5 villages on food, 2 on wood, and 3 on gold before you start to do other stuff. So it's pretty good sort of way to start out a game. You've also I'm at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I don't know where you are.
I'm like 2 minutes 25, so yeah, we're roughly the same.
Cool. So you've got your pharaoh empowering a mining camp, right? When you've got 10 villages on berries. Mathematically, it makes no sense. Because if it was empowering the granary, he's got 10 villages worth of stuff that he could be
that is true.
Increasing rather than just like the one laborer.
See, I'm learning so much already. This is great.
So you want to have your pharaoh at the most efficient place.
Okay.
Like most of the time. If you need to have him somewhere else, then have him somewhere else. Like if you really, really desperately need a like a migdol to get up, you would empower that, which you would normally need to get that up pretty quick.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you want to be pretty active with that pharaoh and in choosing where he goes. Looks like you're going to get pop blocked here. Should chuck a house up. Pretty much, like if you go by the template I said earlier with like 5-3-2 or like 5-2-3, after you get those amount of villages is a good time to start getting your first monument and your house up.
Okay.
So you sort of miss that in that sort of way. I like that you're pretty active with your priest, but he's a little bit idle. So, like one thing that I do with my scout, doesn't matter what race, I'll assign like a group hotkey to them. So like I don't know, Control 1. And
so you're just constantly moving.
Yeah, so I can quickly jump back and forth. I just have to tap 1 to see where he's at and move him on.
So yeah, I think here in 3 minutes 50, I actually find out that I've kind of screwed up that population start. So I've actually sent my pharaoh over to like one of the houses.
Yeah. I think I quickly watched this recording game before, and I think you actually empowered the wrong house.
Oh, I do as well. Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm Pharaoh. I'm helping.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm just gonna go back to empowering the gold mine.
And your gold mine villagers to build a house, and your food villagers to build a house. That's classic. It's like the panic number one.
I was like, oh god, no. Yeah, my start game isn't great right now, but I'm hoping from this video. Well, I mean, I've learned a lot already, so yeah, it's great.
Okay, so I think it's really easy to say, but like the number one thing in this game is to not panic. If you can avoid that, then that's nice. Like if you just keep a cool head, try and make good decisions, and you'll be right. I think I can talk about building positioning a little bit now. The temple you placed has very poor protection from your towers. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And if a group of, I don't know, like what do you got? Ra and Greek. Okay, it's Greek. So if a group of Hippocon come down and attack your temple, then it's very difficult, and your monument to villages for that matter, that's getting chucked up there. It's very difficult to defend that.
Okay.
As Egyptian early on, so it's much better to chuck that up next to a tower, and that also protects your tower. So it's like a win-win. Same with your monument, because your monument's like a square block the size of your tower, so you can protect the whole side from it with just the one, which is nice. Yeah, so you're going through Bast. That's nice. Like your advance time's not too bad considering. So
considering the iffy population start, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But you can actually be at the same point you're at now, with pickaxe, with hunting dogs, and with husbandry. So economically, efficiency is pretty important.
Okay.
And if you can, we'll run through a game or something. And we can and I'll talk you through the build order as we do it. Okay. And you'll see exactly like how to do it and what happens and why it's really good. So that'll be fine.
I mean, if you have any more videos on the ISIS tactic that you think I should watch, then I'd love to watch it.
I would probably have some ISIS videos up there. I'm not sure. I'd have to look through. There's this pesky catastrophic scout. What's he doing there? Trying to take your obelisks down. Okay, so classical age is sort of important to get an armory up, to get your, depending on what tactic you're doing. I think fast heroic would be the right choice in this game. I think he did some sort of like semi-classical fight thing, but that's fine. But what you would normally do is chuck up an armory straight away, and then like don't buy anything but maybe a couple priests just for defense, and then advance to the heroic age, and then go from there. You've also got like 3 giraffe, like you're going for berries again. I know I've said this again before, but like those 3 giraffe have 900 food in them. These berries have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you only actually got 600 food there in total. So it doesn't make much sense to go for the berries, even though like it's like sort of less hassle to gather them. I suppose. I don't know. Does it tell me how fast these? I just paused it. I don't know. Whatever. I'll let that drop now. Just hunters 1, hunters numero uno, and then berries, then herdables, and then farming. Like in that order. That's what you want to go through to get the most efficiency out of your food, because resources are more important early than they are later, so you can afford to start gathering a little bit less later on. Okay. I kind of want to just play fast a little bit. If we just skip ahead to until something happens. So don't you skip forward. I'll play fast until I see something I want to talk about. Okay. And then I'll tell you to join up at that point.
Okay, sure.
I'll just play from 11. Okay. So hit the play button. Alright, so you get this raid that comes in from your sort of like south end of your base with the Hippicon, and you chuck out like 6 mercenary. Those mercenary are worth like 90 gold each. Actually, no, 8 mercenary. They keep coming. It's like the most panic ever.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Mercenary die like after a short amount of time, and they're really, really expensive. And you had the raid completely like stopped with 2 Sphinx. You didn't even need your slingers to stop it. So even if he didn't pick off any villages, that raid was a success for him, because you just spent like, my maths is going out the window. 9 times 8 is 73.
Yeah,
730 gold on mercenary, which is going to do nothing. Which is huge for him. It's just like, he lost his army, right, of Hippon, but that army was probably worth less than that amount of gold.
That's true, yeah.
Maybe not. No, it probably was a bit more. But you could have killed that entire army because it was a really bad raid.
And I would have obviously had a lot ahead, obviously.
Yeah. Also, you can garrison villages in a town center, which you probably could have done to save all of them. You should just like select them all and garrison them. You never want,
or something like that.
Yeah. You never want to use your town bell, because that, well, not never, but like most of the time, it's better to just garrison the villages which are getting harassed.
So it's best to micromanage the garrisons then. Okay.
Yeah. So you're sitting at like 900 food, 660 goldish. So you've got enough resources to go to the heroic age. Just don't have an armory up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I was thinking at this point to not even bother building one. I think I was just kind of just in slight panic mode at what just happened.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, get everything working. Oh, let me go.
Gotta get this mercenaries, man.
Yeah, but the nicest thing about Egyptian is that their armories, their markets, their houses, their storehouses cost no resources. So they just take ages to build. That's like the cutoff, like the payoff there. So you can it's actually worthwhile as soon as you get to that age to get one villager, even if you're not planning on advancing straight away, to get one villager to chuck that armory up straight away. Because you might want to get a armory upgrade at some point, and you just want to grab it straight away so that you can make an attack or make a defense, or B, because by the time you randomly get those resources which are sitting on at the moment, you want to be able to spend them on the next age straight away instead of waiting for it. I find myself, especially in the heroic age, when I want to go to the mythic age, I find myself like lacking that amount of like building structures to get to the next stage, and it's really frustrating. Anyways, you got a little raid coming in here with the Hippicon. I'm at 1333 at the moment. I don't know if that's similar to where you're at. Now you deal with it really well. You move your villages to your army, which is something that a lot of people might panic to do, and they just immediately run them back to their base, which would be like, it's not very intuitive.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but what I actually do there is the Hippo can't actually focus my Pharaoh. And what I actually do is I actually kite them with the Pharaoh into the priests and the slingers, and that just completely. I don't think I lose many at all.
Yeah, you didn't lose any villages, so that's great, and you picked off all of those Hippocons, so that's a huge win. And just get your village back to work as soon as possible. That's good. And also, I would recommend to not use the default hotkeys. Just as a random point of thing there, you want to change them to something that suits you.
Okay.
What I do personally is I use the QWERTY system, if that makes any sense. So the sort of like portraits of the units line up with QWER on my keyboard. Okay. So they're all in place. So like Spearman would be Q, Axeman W, Slinger E. Okay. And that's how I do it. Also, change your villager hotkey to something that's really, really accessible. I use spacebar. I know spacebar is like to select your current selection, but I use group hotkeys to select everything, so I don't need it. But yeah, spacebar is a huge like thing for me, because when I first started playing, one of my biggest issues was idle villages. So I wanted to fix that. So I made something huge on my keyboard, the centerpiece for trying to tap idle villages. And
to get into the so it just becomes second nature to always get them going.
Yeah, because if you ever notice, like the best players, their idle, you can like count their idle villager time on like one hand in a game. The really good players will never have idle villagers.
Okay.
So it's just because you bought them, you want to make good use of them.
Yeah.
Let's check your. Okay, that's one really good thing to note about what you're doing. You've got your bow saw, you've got your shaft mine, and you've got even adds of wet, which is like pretty good. You'll find a lot of new players will neglect upgrades for economy altogether, but they are the most important upgrade, and it makes me happy that you've got them.
So I'm doing something right. That's
yeah,
right.
you're doing things really good. You're getting plow as well at the time when you started farming, so that's good. As soon as you start farming, you should look at getting that. It's such a good upgrade for Egyptian. I think it's like a 20% bonus,
wow.
Which is I think it is. I don't have my advanced tooltips mod on, so I can't say for exactly, but I know it's pretty big. Okay. I'm just talking a lot, but I think that's okay. When you're advancing to the next stage, you need to think about what resources you need immediately when you hit that next stage.
Okay.
So at the moment you hit the heroic age and you can't do anything with it because you've got no gold. You've got like 800 food and 400 wood. What I try and do when I'm advancing to the heroic age specifically is have for Egyptian you only need the gold, but for any other race I try and have at least 300 wood, at least 300 gold, so I can build a hill fort, palace, fortress, whatever. Okay. For Egyptian I try and have at least 400 gold so I can straight away build that Migdol. So immediately I get that big structure to defend my villages or put pressure on my opponent somewhere. So straight away, as soon as I hit that, I can do it. Looks like you're grabbing a town center, which is fine, because you've already got like a full army. Kind of don't need that Migdol straight away, but...
What time were you on, by the way?
16:43.
Okay.
I'm
17:10, so I just pause for a second.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think my game's a bit laggy. Yeah. Let me just play fast. So I'm at 17:9.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Okay. Alright, settlement goes up. Start building villages straight away from each town center. That's the one, like, the nice thing about getting town centers is the population. The primary reason why you want to grab them is villages.
I didn't actually know that. I literally thought it was for the population. But yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, because the more villages you have means the more resources you have means the more dudes you can have. So economy is super important. This is a great fight here for you. Like, you use ancestors. Okay. One thing you can do with ancestors is use the eclipse thing with them. So ancestors and eclipse, and that basically makes your ancestors twice as strong. It doesn't look like you really needed to, but I accidentally broke the game a little bit. Okay, I'm still going. I hit the wrong button. Hit F8 instead of F7. Your opponent doesn't have any way to stop the ancestors. Normally, like there'll be like a frost or a ceasefire or something. But you can use ancestors and eclipse to block enemy god powers so that only you have the advantage at that certain point.
Okay.
And then your ancestors can be like really, really strong, and they're probably the strongest sort of like mid-game god power combo you can have. Maybe flaming weapons with Loki is like the only thing that sort of like is as strong as it. Okay, so here's something to note. I'm at 1830. Yeah, 1830. I'm pausing the game. You've got like this side raid happening here, on your villages, and I think what looks like you're doing is just sending all of your units back to deal with it. So there's only 3 here. So one thing you can, well, the easiest solution to this problem would be to just like those 4 idle spearmen that are standing there could easily deal with that, and you could keep pushing in. I don't know if that's what you do or not, but I wouldn't retreat at this point. I would just keep on pressing my advantage. So yeah.
So like even though I've just got mainly priests and slingers that don't do much damage to buildings, is it still best to put on that pressure?
Oh yeah, like if you're standing on your opponent's military buildings with a huge army, and they are continuously building military units out of that thing, then you kill them instantly.
So that's a complete resource loss for them. So yeah. So it's nice to have that pressure and make them have to do something about it. Okay.
And you're at that point where you have completely outmassed him. He'd had a manticore and like I don't know 5 heavy toxitors or something. So your priest would one hit the manticore, your slingers would chew through this the toxitor, and then you can just sit on his archery ranges and sort of win the game there.
Are you what time?
I'm at 1930. Okay, so the other thing about the Egyptian heroic age is that their siege is the strongest thing in the game. So you want to chuck up a siege workshop pretty much instantly when you hit the heroic age as well. It costs, I don't know, is it 25 gold or 75 gold? It's ridiculously cheap. And you can just like use that in combination with Ancestors Eclipse to pretty much win a game. I probably should have said it when you used Ancestors, but I try and only ever use Ancestors and Eclipse if I have 1 or 2 siege towers at the minimum.
Okay.
Because that way your opponent can't retreat through a wall or through buildings, and if they do retreat, you can just batter down their stuff because you've got siege. So that's always a good thing to have. So yeah, I think this game is we can kind of stop the game here. It looks like there might be one more thing that I could say later. We'll keep watching. I'll put it on play fast and see if I see anything else.
Okay.
The other thing is villages, just auto queue them. Yeah, I think I said that already. But yeah, you've got, if I have a look, you have 50 villages and you should have 80. Something like that, yeah. Okay, so, alright, here, I'm at 20 minutes, 23 minutes and 40 seconds. So you got this fight here, and your opponent's massed out Peltast, just the complete counter to what you've got. And I believe you just produce a bunch of elephant, which is the correct response, but you keep fighting it. So one thing you have to think about is, can I win this fight? If you can, fight it. If you can't, don't fight it. Like, there's yeah, there's very little time, like very small amount of times that are useful to fight opposing fight. I don't actually think I can think of one. If you're going to lose a fight, there's no point in fighting it.
Yeah, yeah.
Apart from, I mean, if you need to win a fight to stay in the game, like secure a gold mine, of course you have to fight it.
Yeah.
Even if you think you're going to lose it, but you've got to fight it and try and win it in whatever way you can. But in this situation, you're sitting in a really rough concave, and like it's.
You're actually blocking with that wall pretty well there. So.
Yeah, it's looking like he's going to get a bit of an advantage, and if he was thinking at this point, he'd be like, okay, I've just built a bunch of peltars, I'm going to kill off all his units, his response is going to be elephant, I should start building hoplite, and then you'd come in with all your elephant and he'd have a bunch of hoplite to like punch you back and a really good spot. But yeah, anyways, that's this game. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's the first half of a lesson between me and Ziclag, me trying to teach him how to play ISIS a little bit better, general RTS mechanics and stuff like that. There's still the other chunk of the lesson to go where we jump into an online match and I start yelling at him to do XYZ. It's a little bit of fun for us. Game goes on for an epic amount of time, so I'll see if I can cut that up. Hopefully the audio wasn't too disconcerting for everyone. Unfortunately, my exploit didn't record correctly. It's very weird what happened, but anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.